So now we take a look to another conspiracy theory video, and I show you this video, and at the position that I stop, I say something to this scene that we are seeing in the video. So now let's look at this video together.
Handcuffed and pinned to the ground while one of the officers had his knee on Floyd's neck. Attorney General Keith Ellison says investigations are underway. He is asking for all witnesses or anyone with information to come forward.
Okay, so let's stop here for a second, because there are lots of questions that should be asked here when viewing this video. I want you to pay very close attention to detail, and also note that I will play other clips too, so that you can fully understand what I'm about to point out here. First, in this video, which is a surveillance camera of the Dragon Wonk restaurant, or however you pronounce that, we see George Floyd being initially detained by 2 police officers, apart from the other 2 police officers that we saw during the first video of George's murder going viral on the internet. So, we can logically determine that George was removed from the Mercedes SUV that we see here. And according to this video, which was recorded by an individual sitting in their vehicle located behind the incident, George was forcefully removed from the SUV with his hands up, and the officer struggles to reach around George's back to place him in handcuffs. No signs of resisting arrest anywhere. Second, I want to point to the scene itself. At exactly 8:36 or 20:36 military time, George is seen being detained by an officer escorting him towards the inner half of the sidewalk. And the other officer is seen walking towards an individual having an apparent
So now there are people out there who say George Floyd has no tattoo, and they use this picture or another screenshot from a video to prove this. But in this video you have a very, very bad quality, and black people with black tattoos, this is not easy to recognize the tattoo, because it is very, very difficult if the video quality is not good and the person is black and then wearing a black tank top. That's all very bad to recognize that he has a tattoo here. But there is another picture that has also not a perfect quality, and now I show you that picture. Wait. I show you that there is another picture. Look at this picture. That's a better quality, but the camera is too far away to recognize the tattoo. But if you look closer and zoom in, you can see that he has tattoos. You can see that here it is darker than here, but if you zoom more and more, you see nothing of the tattoo, because the quality was going too bad. You see it on the pixels there. But if you go away, you can see that here's some dark shadow, and here on his shoulders too, that he has a tattoo on the scene. So the picture that the people use to say George Floyd has no tattoo, it's just because the quality of the picture is very, very bad. So he always has this tattoo, but because of the bad quality, you can see the tattoo very clearly. So Here's another example, very bad quality, and you can't see the tattoo clearly, but you can see here a black shadow here on his body and here on his shoulders. So you can see that he has a tattoo. And now let's look. I don't find the picture that they use, but they use a picture from a German channel, RT Germany, RT Deutschland. And on this picture they show you that George Floyd has no tattoo, but that's fake. Maybe if I find the picture, I put a link in the video description. But they use a picture with a very bad quality. So that's the reason why George Floyd has no tattoo. There is a better quality and you can see the tattoo here. So that's the reason. It's a black person, a dark colored person, and I don't mean this racistic or what I hope I can explain it. It's not because I'm a racist that I say that. It's because it is true. A dark person with a dark tattoo. It's like if you have a dark gray paper and then paint with a black with a black pen. It's it's not good to see, and as more as you go far away from the picture, you can see what's on the picture because it's too dark, and that's the reason why if the quality goes better and the video perspective goes more away, you can see clearly the tattoo of George Floyd. But the tattoo was always there. That's what I think, and that's my opinion. So that's the first, and now let's look at the video again.
Conversation. No police vehicle is seen at the time of this video. Then the video jumps to 2 minutes later, and we see a parked police vehicle with non-emergency lights on, parked at a 45-degree angle. And then it appears as if the officers began to walk George back to the police vehicle. And it's also important to note that his body language tells us that he is cooperating with the police. Then the video jumps again to 9 o'clock or 2100 military time. And we now see 4 officers gathered together at the back of a totally different police vehicle from the one that we saw earlier.
So, if we don't have all video clips, then we can tell what's happened in the time where we have no video clips. So maybe there are out there are many other video clips, but they don't show us the video clips. So that's the question, why they don't show us these video clips, and why are these video clips are so short, and then many sequences of the videos are lost. Why is this so? So I can't explain this too, but yes, maybe there is something more behind what's happened, but it's for me no complete conspiracy theory, because you can't see everything, and so you can't tell the whole truth.
With its emergency lights on and parked at a vertical angle. But where is George located during this time? According to the full-length video released to the news media outlets by the restaurant's owner, the Mercedes SUV was being driven by George and occupied 2 passengers in it. The passengers are seen being ordered to the sidewalk, and there was an apparent struggle at the driver's side door. Now, at this angle, this Mercury Mountaineer SUV located just behind the incident recorded what happened on both.
So that's very strange, and that's truth, and I accept this, that there is some very strange things, but if we don't have an answer, we can say that this is all a conspiracy theory. We don't know the complete truth, so we can speculate, but that's everything. So because all the other conspiracy theories that the people believe are fake, and I have exposed this.
Both sides of the Mercedes SUV. Now we can also determine that the person recording video sitting inside of this vehicle was apparently there once it all started. This vehicle was then seen pulling out of the parking spot using their left turning signal and then parking just across the street from the initial scene. And what's odd is that this person recording never stepped out of the vehicle to continue to record George once he was brought over to another police vehicle across the street, but continued to stay parked there for the remaining portion of this footage, and then he begins to leave. Also, as you can clearly see here, the 2 initial officers walked from across the street and then up towards the Mercedes SUV, in which it is still unclear if it was George that owned the vehicle or not. According to reports, the police were called by a convenience store clerk of Cup Foods, which is located across the street from where George is parked here. According to reports, it was said that the clerk called the police because George used a fake $20 bill to buy cigarettes. But listen to what the Cup Food store owner says here.
We don't just work in that community. That is our community. We know the community. It's a vibe that is unmatched to any other community. It's the best thing that's happened to our family.
The family-owned business has come under fire after a phone call to police about the passing of a counterfeit $20 bill led to 46-year-old George Floyd begging a Minneapolis police officer for his life.
I was not there.
You were not there.
The staff that called the police followed protocol. When he identified the bill was fake, the patron was out of the establishment. When the police arrived, he was outside of the establishment, which normally never takes place. Why he was still there, we're not sure.
The owner of the store just said that the patron was already out of the store once the clerk realized that it was a counterfeit bill and then called the police. Then the police arrived shortly thereafter, and they were able to immediately identify George and where he was located. Okay, so let me say it like this. If the clerk realized that the bill was fake only after George left the store and some time had passed, how would the clerk, and even the police for that matter, find out immediately the identity of George and, even more importantly, where he was conveniently located? That's
a good question. Yes, that's a good question.
red flag number 1. Red flag number 2 is this body camera footage of the park police officer that was on the scene before it was made public to stand as evidence that the park police officer had nothing to do with participating in the murder of George. Most of the audio, and including the surrounding people, were censored out of this video.
That's a good question too, why they put out the audio of all the videos, what they are speak in the videos.
But listen closely as this officer tries to make his way over to where the other officers brought George after detaining him. Keep in mind that most of the audio has been removed by the police and not me.
Alright, what's your name?
We hear the first officer just beginning to question George, asking for identification and then his name, only after he had him removed from the vehicle and sitting on the ground first. And then it goes silent again. So all vital information has been removed. Then one of the initial officers hands the park police officer what appears to be a blue sticky note, asking him to do him a favor. Apparently, we can't know what the favor was. Then we can clearly see that the Mercury Mountaineer SUV that I mentioned earlier is parked across the street with the driver's side window down. As the park police officer mysteriously hesitates for a few seconds and then proceeds to enter back into his vehicle. Then he makes a complete U-turn just to park across the street and then steps out of his vehicle again. Why did he just do that? Was it George's outcries that made him hesitate? And then why did he grab his gloves and just dropped a blue sticky note on the ground? Now, as this officer approached the police vehicle in front of the Cups food store, he gets halted in his tracks by another officer.
Can you watch that car? Make sure there's no phones in it. Okay. Can you watch that car? Make sure there's no phones in it. Okay.
Can you watch that car? Just make sure nothing's wrong with it, is what he said. The cop then immediately agrees and walks back across the street towards the Mercedes SUV.
I don't want you guys grabbing anything from the car, okay? Leave the car alone.
Was this the time period where video footage captures police officers apparently doing something to George in the backseat of the vehicle while he was handcuffed?
That's what I told you in in another video. In the other video, with the where I explained you why George was falling down on the other side of the car. You see, they put him in the car, and then you see that a police officer is struggling with him and fighting with him maybe and struggle. And then you see, look closely. You see that he is go very fast to the other side. Maybe George fall down on the other side or want to go out on the other side, and then the police officer take him and put him down on the ground. So that's the reason why he was falling down here, go in the car there, and in another scene you see him on the other side of the street. So that's my opinion.
And in this video, we see the park police officer's truck right here. So We now know that whatever was going on in the back seat while George was handcuffed led to him being pinned to the ground outside of the vehicle.
That's what
that whatever was going on.
That's what the people say, that there is no line here, no street line, but they use a bad quality, and you can see here a white shadow from the street line. So the street line is always there, but the video quality is not good.
In the back seat while George was handcuffed led to him being pinned to the ground outside of the vehicle by 3 police officers with their knees caved onto the back side of George's body. So not only was he being choked to death in a way, he was also being brutalized for quite a while now. This video also proves that all 4 officers involved should be fired.
The picture is a little bit clearer, and you can see the line here. So the line is never away. The only reason you can see it is the bad quality.
Allegedly, because we can't really prove that. I mean, we only going off for somebody else's word. But this video also proves that not 1 but 3 officers should be charged and convicted with murder and manslaughter. Now, red flag number 3 is the fact that each of these videos that have timestamps included are all off. This restaurant surveillance footage carries the date of May 25th, 2020, starting at 8. And then this body camera footage has the date of May 26, 2020. Starting at the time of 1:12. And then this video has a date of May 25th, 2020. But the timestamp says 8:18.
So that's a very good question, but that's something I can't explain. I can explain because I has an old video camera in 2018-19, I think, and I make some pictures of me with this old camera. I don't know the brand market. It's a very old camera, and I take these pictures from me. This one. And this one, and they are all from a different timeline, but on the camera the date was always 2004. So that's what was the date of the camera, 2004 and 2004 again, but the pictures were shot on other days and not on the 1st January. But that's the reason why these pictures are really from years ago, from I think 2017, 2018, maybe 19, but the camera date is from 2004. So these pictures are not from 2004, but only the camera date is from 2004 because I never changed it, and because when the accu of when the battery of the camera was empty, then the date why ever changed back to 2004, and so sometimes I have no I have not changed the date of 2004 to 2017, 18 or maybe 19, and then I take the pictures and the camera date always say 2004. So 2004 was never really changed, but the pictures that I make at this time are from another year. So maybe the police officers don't change the camera date on some cameras, and then it shows an old date. But that's only my my opinion and what's on my mind. So maybe it's true or maybe it's not true. So it's your choice. But that's what I think about this.
which will make this incident occurring prior to George being removed from the Mercedes SUV. Now, just these 3 red flags alone should make you ask some questions.
That's right.
Like, why were the cops later called for an alleged counterfeit $20 bill when it's any cashier's duty to make sure that bills above a particular value are real or not, way before accepting them? Why did the initial 2 officers on the scene leave the 2 passengers on the sidewalk unattended in order to bring George back to their police vehicle way across the street?
That's a very good question that I ask by myself. Why they go to the other side of the street? Why? Why they don't arrest him here in this car, or go with this car to the scene? Why they leave the scene and go to the other scene here? Why?
They walked up to the SUV, ordered them to get out, threw handcuffs on George, and began to question each of them on the sidewalk. But what was their actual reason for arresting George Floyd in the first place? Now,
good question.
In the original video that went viral, you are able to see that George is pinned down, and then you notice a few things that are questionable. Like, why are the cops keeping George pinned down to the ground while waiting for an ambulance to arrive? What took place before this incident that calls for George needing medical attention? See? This officer is clearly wearing a body cam. So why haven't we seen footage from his perspective yet?
Good question again.
See there?
So I don't know what's going on with the
police. The 2 cops that we do see in the original video are seen getting into the police vehicle that is parked behind the parked police officer's vehicle, indicating that these 2 officers got involved in this situation just after the park police officer was told to go check on the Mercedes SUV prior to this questionable incident taking place, which involved a total of 4 officers. And here's another question. Why are paramedics that arrived on the scene wearing bulletproof vests and dressed as...
Well, that's a good question, why they wearing bulletproof vests, but the dark gray or brown t-shirts are normal for EMS. I have googled this and these are normal, so that's our real medical outfits, but I don't know why they have bulletproofs on. That's a good question. Maybe because they think George Floyd is criminal, or because of his criminal history, or I don't know what's the reason for this, but it's a good question.
If they are police officers carrying weapons, is that normal? This portion of the video proves that the police heavily edited out the audio to remove what was being said by George himself, along with the passengers, and even the crowd that gathered there, for that matter. Here's the part where the cop walks to his vehicle and then asks the parked police officer, did he find anything wrong with the car?
Yeah, it's good? Oh. I don't know, I'm just waiting for 320. Yeah, it's good? Oh. I don't know, I'm just waiting for 320.
That's why you can't speak right now.
You guys want some of the car?
Again?
You guys want some
That
of
shit
the car?
bogus, bro. You such a man, you about to have dreams at night, bro. You gonna fuck around and shoot yourself. That's what you gonna do.
So obviously, somebody has something to hide.
Yes, that's
Handcuffed and pinned to the ground.
that's possible, and a good question. So if you have some answers to the questions in the video, so put it in the comment section, but don't say it's a conspiracy theory and it's all fake and it's an inside job. If you say that, then please prove it, and don't say something and say, so because I say this, then it is true. Prove it. Prove it to me and show good examples what you mean. Thanks for watching and have a nice day, and God bless you, and we see us in the next video. Now let's look close at this video that was posting there. So